Hey cousins, happy Mindset Monday. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Chrissy Pips. Now in today's video, we will tackle the final chapter, Thinking Like a Trader. Now in this chapter, we will learn how to believe in the 5 fundamental truths that we talked about in a previous chapter and go through the 3 stages of thinking like a trader. Now, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, share, and comment below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on what's next. But as always, if you're here, you're interested. So let's get into it. Now, the more we think we know, the more damage we actually do. Okay, to be a successful trader with a growing equity curve, we have to get out of our own minds, and we've got to operate from a perspective stating that we do not need to know everything. Okay, in order to properly operate in a state of not needing to know, we need to properly manage our expectations. Now, to have the proper expectations is something a little bit different. We need to get our mental environment set up so that we believe in the 5 fundamental truths. Now, we talked about this in the last chapter, and I'll link a little card up here to that video. That way, if you need to, you can go ahead and watch it. Now, there are 3 stages to the development of a trader. The first stage is the mechanical stage. The second stage is the subjective stage, and the third stage is the intuitive stage. Now, in the first stage, we will build the self-trust necessary to operate in a limitless environment. Now, Mark defines consistent results as a steadily rising equity curve with only minor drawdowns that are a natural consequence of edges that just didn't work. Defining your core desire as a trader is very important. Mine is to be consistent. What's yours? Let me know in the comments below. Now, once you've defined that desire, examine any contradictory beliefs and then move the energy from the old conflicting belief to the new belief of consistency. Make sure your actions are in line with that new belief. Your actions actually have to speak the new belief, okay? Now, the first step in the process of creating consistency is to start noticing what you're thinking, saying, and doing. Why? Well, because everything we think, say, or do as traders contributes to and reinforces some belief in our mental system. Now, because the process of becoming consistent is psychological in nature, it shouldn't come as a surprise that you have to start paying attention to your various psychological processes. Now, become an objective observer, right? You gotta get good at catching yourself having negative thoughts about your trading. If that fails, the last line of defense for you is to catch yourself in the act. If you don't commit yourself to becoming an observer of these processes that you go through, your realizations will always come after the fact, okay? It'll come after the experience, usually when you're in a state of deep regret or frustration. Now, observing yourself objectively implies doing it without judging yourself, which is important, okay? We have to go about keeping our emotions in check. Emotions don't belong here. Remember, we talked about this in a previous book and in the book after that, okay? Emotions do not belong in trading. So we will need to watch for and confront any mistakes on site. During our trading is very important, okay? Making mistakes is a natural function of living and will continue to be until we reach a point at which all of our beliefs are in absolute harmony with our desires and all of our beliefs are structured in such a way that they are completely consistent with what works from the environment's perspective. Now, a winning attitude is a positive expectation of our efforts. With a winning attitude, we accept that whatever results we get are a perfect reflection of our level of development and what we should learn to do better the next time. Please believe that mistakes simply point out where we need to focus our efforts in order to grow and get better and improve ourselves and our skills. Now remember that every thought, word, and desire reinforces some belief that we have about ourselves. Now Mark says, if by repeated negative self-criticism we acquire a belief that we're kind of screw-ups, that belief will find a way to express itself in our thoughts, causing us to become distracted and causing us to actually screw up, right? Now, if we are going to become consistent winners, mistakes can't exist in that kind of negatively charged context that most people put mistakes in normally. Mistakes are lessons that we just need to learn. Now, if we see mistakes in a negative light, we have two choices, okay? Now, the first choice is we can work on acquiring a new set of positively charged beliefs about what it means to make a mistake, along with deactivating any negatively charged beliefs that will argue otherwise or cause us to think less of ourselves or like less of our trading ability for making mistakes. Okay. Now, the second thing we could do is, if we don't like the first choice, we can compensate for the potential to make errors by the way that we set up our trading regime, our trading regimen. Okay. Now, this means that if we're going to trade and not monitor ourselves, but at the same time we desire consistent results, then trading has to like exclusively come from the mechanical stage, and that keeps it from resulting in a dilemma. Okay? Now, all we have to do is decide why we want to monitor ourselves, which means we first need to have a clear purpose in mind. When we're clear about our purpose, we start directing our attention to what we think, say, and do. Now, when we lose sight of our purpose, we can be sure to redirect ourselves back on track because we're paying attention to ourselves at this point. This will take some time to get good at, but and it takes some time to get used to, but it's definitely something that can be achieved. Remember to redirect when needed as often as needed. Now, the stronger our will to overcome this step and the more diligent we are at redirecting ourselves, the better we will be. Okay, now let's talk about the role of self-discipline. Mark defines self-discipline as a mental technique to reduce, as much as we can, our focus of attention to like the object of our goal or desire. Now, when that goal or desire conflicts with some other component or belief of our mental environment, we redirect when needed as often as needed. We aren't born with self-discipline, but we can choose to use it. Now, setting specific and tangible goals helps to stay on top of doing the work needed to form these discipline habits. Setting goals like this helps us build enthusiasm, and enthusiasm is kind of what we need to keep moving forward. The enthusiasm is fueled by seeing ourselves achieve our goals. So, set tangible goals. And we need to stay on top of assessing our progress. We must create rules that force us to keep moving forward. For instance, my goal is to take 20 trades a week. Since I trade on the 30-minute time frame, that's feasible, right? Now, that's 4 trades minimum a day, unless the market has like coiled in on itself and then there are really no good setups at that point, like at the 30-minute time frame. But I know I need to work on like getting up to the 20 a week. So I start with 3 a week, right? And then I move on to 1 a day. So 5 a week. and so on. Now, I'm still working on the 20, like having it consistent, but I'm a lot further along than I was when I started. Let me know in the comments below, like what some of your trading goals are, okay? Now, in Mark's example in the book, he uses having the goal of running 5 miles, okay? He says that as he got closer to fulfilling his 5-mile objective, little by little, the conflicting thoughts began to go away. Eventually, they didn't exist at all. At that point, he says he found that if he wanted to run, he was completely free to do so without any mental resistance, conflicts, or competing thoughts. So, after the experience that Mark had, there were 4 observations that he found. One here it go. But what I'll do is I'll try to keep it relative to us as traders, okay? Now, the first is when we decided we wanted to trade, our picture of success had no real foundation or support in our minds, meaning that there were no energized concepts demanding expression that were consistent with our desire, okay? Now, the second observation is that if the support is not there, it's our job to create the support our desires need. We want to create the strong belief that, now repeat after me, I am a successful full-time Forex and crypto trader. Then we need to create the experiences that support this new belief. Remember that everything we think, say, and or do contributes energy to some belief in our mental system, and it's our job to direct that energy. Each time we can push past any conflicting or negative thoughts, and we're able to reinforce our objective and start taking action, like taking another trade, we are adding to the new belief that, repeat after me, I am a successful full-time foreign exchange and cryptocurrency trader. Now, inadvertently, this draws energy away from all the beliefs that are opposite of us being successful, okay? Now, the third observation was from a mental perspective, we can express ourselves as successful full-time foreign exchange and cryptocurrency traders. Yay, we can do that from a mental perspective. We have given that belief enough energy for it to become a functional part of our identity. Now, in the beginning, as traders and after a few losses, we had developed some beliefs that created a barrier between us and having consistent success in our trading. As a result, we needed the technique of self-discipline to become successful full-time foreign exchange and cryptocurrency traders. Now, we don't need self-discipline because being a successful full-time Forex and cryptocurrency trader is who we are. We've put so much energy, time, and effort into making that belief a core belief of ours that it's actually true now. Now, when our beliefs are completely aligned with our goals and desires, there's no source of conflicting energy. If there's no source of conflicting energy, then there's no source of distracting thoughts, excuses, rationalizations, justifications, or mistakes, consciously or subconsciously. Now, the fourth belief is that beliefs can be changed. If we can change one, we can change them all, right? Just remember that we're not changing them so much as we're just moving energy from one to another one. Two conflicting beliefs can exist at the same time, but if one has more energy than the other one, no real contradiction exists at a functional level. Only the belief that the energy will have the capacity to act as a force on our state of mind, our perception, and like our interpretation of information and our behavior. If there are like mental conflicts with our new beliefs, we will need to use the self-discipline technique that like has us observe ourselves, our thoughts, and our actions. Once the beliefs become who we are, we will no longer need the self-discipline aspect because the process of being consistent will become effortless. Consistency is a state of mind that, once achieved, won't allow us to be anything other than consistent. We won't need to try to be consistent because it will be a natural function of our identity. It will be part of us. So get those beliefs energized, right? What was once a struggle will become virtually effortless. Now let's talk about creating a belief in consistency. We know that creating a belief stating that we are successful full-time foreign exchange and cryptocurrency traders is the primary objective when we're thinking like a trader, right? Since that belief is so broad, Mark says that we have to break it down into like 7 principles, or the principles of consistency. Look, definable parts is all he needs, okay? Mark tells us how to integrate into our mental system new things. So, we are successful full-time Forex and cryptocurrency traders because, and here come the 7, I objectively identify my edges. Now, I predefine risk for every single trade. I completely accept the risk, or I'm willing to let go of the trade. I act on my edges without reservation or hesitation. I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. I continually monitor my propensity to make errors, and this to me is the most important one. So number 7 for me is the most important. I understand the absolute necessity of these principles of consistent success, and therefore I never violate them. Okay, the first principle of consistency is to believe that I objectively identify my edges. The key word here is objectively. Being objective means that there's no potential to define, interpret, or perceive any market information from either a painful or euphoric perspective. No good, no bad. It is what it is, right? Now remember, you have to specifically train your mind to be objective to stay focused in the now opportunity moment flow. Our minds are not naturally wired to think this way. So to be an objective observer, we must learn to think from the market's perspective, even though the moment may look, sound, or even feel exactly the same as some other moment logged away in our memory bank. Deactivating internal conflicts is not a function of time. It's a function of like focused desire. More than anything else, we desire consistency, or the state of mind that gives us the trust, confidence, and objectivity to be consistent for our trading. Now, to even start this process, we have to want consistency so much that we would be willing to give up all other like reasons, motivations, or agendas that we have for our trading that aren't consistent with the processes of integrating the beliefs that create consistency. Now, a clear, intense desire is an absolute prerequisite if we're going to make this process work. Now, in the next and last part of this particular series, which will be part 2 of chapter 11, we will cover like thinking like a trader, and we'll do the summary of the book, we'll do an exercise, and we will redo the attitude survey. We did it in the beginning, so if you go back to the very first video, chapter 1 of this series, the questions are all there. I might repost them in that video too. But we want to go through the exercise and then start to implement some of the things that we've learned from this last chapter. Now, don't forget to like and comment below. Let me know what you think about the book and if it has helped you in your trading journey. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss what's next. And share on social media if you think others can get some value from this content. But as always, cousins, I hope you guys are having an awesome and productive day. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.